Way sa tanlus ke
When Australia was settled by the British in the late 18th century, it was inhabited by an estimated 750,000 Aboriginal people. When the settlers landed on the beaches of New South Wales, they found no system of government, no commerce or permanent settlements, and no evidence of land ownership. They founded the Sydney Cove Colony on the colonial legal principle of terra nullius, which meant that the land belonged to no one.
Auntie Edna, what a me. One day, we looked out on the ocean and convinced our old people to watch. White men came across in huge canoes. And they put their feet up on our beaches and put their feet amongst our sand and stuck something in the ground and raised the glass to their king. When they finally committed mayhem across the country, they took our languages from us. Daye, Ngalawayo, Giba, Giba, I'm sitting on rock. Ngalawayo, I'm sitting on rock. The sky, Karobura, Karobura. The wind, Guwara, is where our language comes from. We take it from the environment.
About 250 Aboriginal languages existed in Australia prior to colonization. In those days, most Aborigines were multilingual and likely to speak half a dozen languages, as well as their own. Tragically, in the last 200 years, Australia has suffered the largest and most rapid loss of languages known to history. Currently, there are only about 20 in constant use. One of those languages once considered to be near extinct is the Gumbayngur language, spoken in the town of Nambucca Heads in New South Wales. The term Nambucca derives from a Gumbayngur word said to mean entrance to the waters, or crooked river. Sadly, the last fluent speaker of the language died in 1981. Michael Jarrett is from the Gumbayngur Aboriginal community, located on the outskirts of Nambucca Heads. Like many people his age, he is only now, as an adult, learning his language.
Now, would I give you something that will kill you? Where's the yam, Tim?
Where? Oh, she got.
This one is called jibang. It's got a little pulp in it, like that, and it's got seed. In Aboriginal way, if we go into Dunghutti territory, we expect it to speak Dunghutti. If we're in Bunjalung, we expect it to speak Bunjalung, or Jaeger, or Ngamba. We speak their language. We don't go in there and say, oh, you're going to speak Gumbayngur now, because that's disrespectful. The language belongs to the land, and white people got a different concept of that. They don't understand that. The Gali and Jingam. Ngalgan? Where Ngalgan? Ngalgan. Be where me Ngalgan. Ngalgan. Me. When I was growing up, what I heard was that Aboriginal people were forbidden to speak their language. They'd actually get punished if people heard them speaking their language. So they didn't really want their children to get punished, so they spoke the language by themselves. I grew up on this Aboriginal reserve up here, there was a few of these old people used to speak, but when they used to talk to us, they would put Gumbanga words into English sentences, you know? Watch out for the wanji, so watch out for the dog. So we only grew up with a few words in our language, so I didn't get to hear fluent speakers talking together.
Wanji.
Bindre juri gadulku. Bindre juri.
Michael Jarrett works as a language teacher in the local schools, teaching children the Gumbaynggirr language. He also teaches adults through the Murbay Aboriginal Language and Cultural Cooperative. The center is located in an old church, and from its beginnings in the early 1980s, the cooperative has taken major strides in reviving the Gumbaynggirr language.
The reason why I like teaching is because it's keeping our language alive, and to hear that tongue again, because the Gumbaynggirr language belongs in Gumbaynggirr territory, and it hasn't heard the language for many, many years. Luckily, some linguists they come up the coast and start to interview people like Harry Buchanan, got stories and language all on CD.
The audio tapes of elders speaking the language date back to the 50s and 60s. They were housed at various universities and museums and brought back to the community. It was not until the late 1980s that the last remaining speakers took steps to revive their language with the help of community members and Steve Morelli, a member of the Catholic Order of Christian Brothers.
It was a great privilege for me to be allowed into their world.
That means command, dance.
Yeah, and then
What was their main input for me wasn't so much words as what the words belonged to, the feel, the cultural element behind words.
With a dedicated team of linguists, community members, and local researchers, the revitalization of the language led to the Gumbaynggirr Language Dictionary. It includes word lists, examples of sentences, a new word section, and a grammar section.
It is meant for learners, not for linguists. It's meant for people who can start at page 1 and go to the end. They should be able to learn that language fairly well.
The dictionary took 10 years to complete and was recently launched in Nambucca Heads with great fanfare and pride.
Not only the language will go extinct, it's like a race of people. The language is gone, the stories are gone. It's a shame if they disappear. I'm going to do as much as I can and teach them as much as I can, as long as I can.
In Australia, the only strong Aboriginal languages left are located in the most remote and least urbanized areas of the continent: the Kimberleys, Arnhem Land, far North Queensland, and Central Australia. In Central Australia, 3 major Aboriginal language groups have all survived remarkably well: the Pitjantjatjara, Walpiri, and Arrernte languages.
Kalau harata, we call it harata. Yeah, pernah which made it in harata. All people use early days use them. Carpet again, no? Headache, pain, broken pain, cuts and bruises. lagan puch meritanen in country channel quite treatment my grandfather been England milk men and now I got a baby again.
John Kavanagh speaks the Eastern Arrante language, one of the 5 dialects of Arrante found in the Alice Springs area.
My grandfather, Jamaican, my panajet necor, Nati corn, Nature and a jet necor young pull, Nanicol on the jet, and Pakaram tail at one. Younger tumble, Kajil Daka, country Kajiric, push medicine against Kajil Daka tumble. Push Takanon, El Cojaranun, with the co no open and just Karal co labor way, Yamalal, Putlal Katumul, Jelchel Katumul. They've been finding uranium the last year and they've been trying mining, like you know. Kaningak now don't mine here in this country, Abanangak. Why will you quantum mining for uranium, you know, Kaningakaranko, don't hear Logan. Poison. Leave the poison in the ground. So you can't reckon in my lagan.
The impact of white settlement in Central Australia was disastrous for Aboriginal people and their culture. They lost all legal rights to their land and were barred from Alice Springs until 1964. They did not have the right to vote until 1967. At the same time, the government expected them to assimilate. During the 1960s, children like John were taken from their parents and forced to attend mission schools. Others were taken and placed with white families to be raised as white. Those children became known as the stolen generation.
Missionary was real hard, you know, tap. Later, Tuna Angalitangalkun, Arantangalkun. English only Angakun. I told one per one. Even one word I book called punishment them Van Peltatul and Lokoma Pelton.
John eventually ran away from the mission school. That's how he kept his language and culture. For the past century, Aboriginal people of Australia have protested their lack of basic human rights.
As Aboriginal people, a united voice in an acknowledgement that we are the prior owners of this land.
In February of 2008, the Prime Minister issued an official apology to the stolen generation. But the government still passes laws that allow it to intervene in Aboriginal communities in ways that are not tolerated in the rest of the country. Alcohol bans, restrictions on what can and cannot be bought with welfare checks, and regulations tying these checks to children's attendance in schools.
New Lombarga, Ambakad colon nearly every day. Yeranama. Why will a new policy in Borg, Chilkamabuk? This new law intervention in Wildenburg. Really hard now. Yalakanato, and we cook and put American Alakan. Early days people been showing me no. Random government may well more than through one, not to one, because country, you know, country, Manana, part of the country, Random government, my own language. On Nampachina Blanamilla, it can learn in both world. Down survival and culture, you know, push it to culture.
In Central Australia, white settlement began late compared to the coastal areas, with the establishment of the town of Alice Springs in the late 19th century. The original inhabitants of this place, the Arrante people, call it impartial. Although Alice Springs developed as a central locale for businesses and services for Central Australia, it has also become a place many Aboriginal people call home. The survival of the languages in Central Australia is dependent on the older speakers who handed down to their children's generation. One answer is bilingual schools, such as the Yeperinia Primary School, located in Alice Springs. The Yeperinia School is an independent, non-governmental school that caters to indigenous students. It offers two-way education, bilingual and bicultural. Here, the kids who attend the school are fluent speakers of one of the many languages spoken in the area. The school teaches 4 indigenous languages: Central and Western Arrente, Luritja, and Walpiri. The school follows the same Northern Territory curriculum as any other school. But it also teaches indigenous languages and culture alongside English skills. An important aspect of education for the children are visits to the countryside. Rhonda Inkamala is the cultural principal at Yeperinia School. She is responsible for the language staff, their teaching and programs, and ensures that regular cultural excursions are arranged for each class.
Nunak ngeribat nunak na mapa ngecam nunak lel it nukan nam inlang kalet nukan kajanam meraga rit naga nangaraka iwan bajagai ndela jak keje map merna map ndela jak inam nan mapa nang iwan ndela jagat nak keje mapa ul pela mal ndele lidama udah nyangwal kadnam udah inan ka perlalam anja perlalam cepa perlalam wal ngad merwaja undam naga iwan ge map multa jalan mapa kwaja leun ge nagal undam perdanak perdundam tip mapa laiwe jamal tujat keragol.
The school has over 200 students, with the majority of them coming from the town camps. Town camps originally grew as ration depots and labor camps around settlements like Alice Springs, back when it was against the law for Aboriginal people to live right in town. It was from these town camps that the school was founded in 1978. The elders wanted a school where Aboriginal language and culture was prominent.
In manga ngribar ma petna ten campal namala yarna jar keji etna gana nana mainstream school on but etna ngarjar problem manan ngwalja lunch maniche and etna ngije etna gana college etna gana culture jar school namal English wire nambajar and English culture wa lakanandam yet nangarmala nan school nanagandam barak school it nanjana met nangi kajan the and the English kajan the
Many of the people who come from remote communities to the city have had little contact with non-Aboriginal culture and lifestyles. Often they only speak an Aboriginal language. And that's where Aboriginal organizations such as the Institute for Aboriginal Development, the IAD, play an important role in Alice Springs. They provide interpreting services mainly for courts, social services, and hospitals. The IAD Language Center runs this program.
Everything, to do with your health. At the Language Center, we do have interpreter services, but and request comes in for either interpreting, which is, speaking, and translation, which is written.
Do you know what this one is?
With interpreting, it's a bit hard when you make a mistake. One little ending on the word, whatever language you're interpreting in, could be fatal.
Interpreters are vital at the local hospital in Alice Springs, which services a large Aboriginal population. Hospital staff work closely with liaison officers and interpreters on a daily basis.
And we've got Malcolm. Malcolm's one of our Aboriginal liaison officers, a well-respected Aboriginal liaison officer in the hospital. Malcolm's been here for 3-4 years.
Nearly
5 years. So, you know, a lot of people know him, if not by face, but definitely by name. What we got here is all the referrals that we get during the daytime. So when I'm a team leader, I'll put the referral up on the board, and I'll give it to the appropriate persons. I think our services here are highly important with predominantly Indigenous people, and all of our patients, most of them speaking English as a second or third language. I think it's highly important that we have people here to communicate with, you know, people from non-English backgrounds, and someone to relate to and to assure them, you know, when they come to hospital that there are services available to them. A lot of the patients aren't forthcoming, you know, about their issues and their problems, and so, you know, might be more comfortable speaking to the Aboriginal liaison officer rather than a doctor. A lot of our patients speak 5-10 different languages. The main languages that we cover in the hospital is Walpuri, Pitjantjatjara, the Aranda language.
Di palo dana penyepiran penjuda pijang menuya nyana kareng benya wilora makara nyara urunga edinga ka ngana ba wanja bidi juda palo jana wanga jana ba wiaring ka ngana na buaring ngana na kanyi ni benya wanga ngana ba no la pulkara wanga ni ka ngana na mukori anjiji ngana ba wiro wanga jago kaminya jamunya Berimba, kalau jana berimba, kalau ngana na banya wanga kana mpadi jala jiru kanyin jago ngarani.